Guys,
Hi, thanks for having us.
what's happening?
You know, what day is it? I don't even know what day I was going to say. It's a Tuesday. Is it a Tuesday?
It is a Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday, and we're sitting here with you guys about to have a chat about all things women fitness business, so we're pretty stoked.
Yeah, we are too. So we'd like to welcome our guests. Firstly, little Alicia Smith and Deborah Goldberg. I've known Alicia for quite some time now, from originally Fitness U, or Fitness Network that I was an assessor for, and you were an event coordinator, manager, trainer.
All things, learning and development manager.
And Deb, I spoke to about 2 years ago.
Yes.
About her amazing fitness businesses around the world, globally and in Australia, and what she's done in the fitness industry. So welcome, ladies. There's a lot of talent in the room, female and male.
On both sides of the table.
Oh, thank you, ladies.
So let's talk Women's Fitness Summit. Is that, yeah?
So can we give a shout out to Bailey Holland? He's watching.
Hey,
He's
Bailey.
watching live.
Hey, Bailey.
Every live. He
We
just
love
sent me
Bailey.
a text message then. Usually comments on Facebook. I know we digress. Sorry, Katie. We usually do. This is the beauty of podcasting, by the way. But he texts me, being upset, saying to me that you don't give me a shout out anymore. I go, I can't see Facebook comments. So now he's texting me in, saying, give me a shout out now.
That's
Hi,
good.
Bailey.
That's a committed
Hi,
fan
Bailey.
right there.
Anyway, sorry, Katie.
Train of thought.
It's
But
like
Fuel,
a
Women's
bloody
Fitness
Bailey
Summit.
Holland.
Women's Fitness Business Summit. So take it away, ladies. Let's talk. What is it? How do you come up with the idea, and who can come?
Yeah. So Deb, why don't you tell everyone where it started?
Yes, Alicia and I, we were in Bangkok and we were having a carb fuel dinner plus wine. And we were discussing how we feel that there's not an event that represents us as fitness enthusiasts, business owners, entrepreneur, PTs, or in any event that represents us as women, first of all. And we decided that we were going to do it, create our own platform. If you don't build it, you have to build it, right? And that's how Fuel Women's Fitness Business Summit came about.
So many things come about on red wine and pasta.
Right.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
Fuel. So why do you think women are misrepresented or not represented in the fitness industry?
Good question. I think it's multifaceted. I think traditionally the fitness industry has been quite a male-dominated industry, and I want to be straight up clear. Like, we're not man haters. We love men.
We love men.
No, we love men, and we're really
love
grateful to be
Thank you,
supported. We do.
Staying quiet over in this corner.
Company included.
It's
But I think one thing that we've realised is that women aren't particularly good at putting their hand up and saying, "Hey, I deserve that role," or I want to create something for me, or I want something that represents who I am. And so it became apparent to us. We've got a lot of event experience between us. So I've been involved with program development for events like Filex and QFit and WayFit, and presented at events around the world. And Deb's been on the other side of the table as well, in terms of from a distribution and product perspective as an end user at conferences too. And I think we both identified the same challenge. No matter what side we're coming from, we're not seeing enough women represented at the top end, so the upper echelon of the fitness industry. And the ones that are there are doing a bloody good job of what they're doing, but we know that there's an opportunity and there's space for us to reach our hands out and say, hey, we've worked really hard to get where we are, and there's space at the table for everyone. So, yeah.
Yeah, and are you going to basically systemize those steps? Is that what you're going to pass on to other females within the industry? Are you going to put it together so that firstly they can, because I know when I first started in the industry, it was 1-to-5 ratio. So 1 woman to 4 men as PTs or fitness instructors. And you're right, it was, how do I get to the top, or how do I even promote myself? So are you going to just systemize that and not sell it but give it, or promote the steps, or is it confidence-based? What's the angle?
Well, I think that it's not a system. We're not saying this is the system you've got to follow, because everyone's different. And, the unique woman that's going to be sitting in the room, and the unique man, because we've got men coming too, which is really cool, but the unique woman that's sitting in the room might have a completely different goal to the unique woman sitting next to her. So we're not going to say this is the system you've got to follow. But on day one of the summit, we've got the incredible Emma Barry, who was, really instrumental in the success of Les Mills, and most recently as the head of group programs for Equinox in the US. She's a phenomenal business coach, and so she's going to be coming out to lead a day entirely all about helping women find what they're incredibly passionate about, find whatever their business why is, and then give them the steps and the tools to help take all of that away at the end of the day and understand how to take huge action on putting into practice what it is that they want to achieve.
I think also it gets so overwhelming now, and Liam and I were just talking about this morning about micro-niching, and the industry is saturated. I think when I first started out, maybe one in four people used a fitness instructor or used a PT, and now, especially around here, it's one-to-one like a Louis Vuitton handbag. So, how do you differentiate yourself in the market that is so saturated where, as a fitness lecturer, every second person coming through, and even people I know, they go, oh yeah, my friend, my cousin, my uncle, my auntie have got a PT qualification. So
do you think it's the gold rush is gone? Like, I think back when we were starting off as PTs, the gold rush was like weight loss, strength. But now that's just so common now. It's to the point where you have to micro niche. As I was saying to Katie this morning, shall I share the example that I was reading I was reading a book called KPI, Key Person of Influence.
Yeah.
In the book, I can't remember exactly the demographic, but he's like, as a fitness professional, you should be targeting, instead of targeting men in weight loss, it should be like gay men in New York, wanting to lose 10 kilograms in Manhattan. Like, that should be your micro niche.
Right.
So it's like, you can't have that whole abundance approach of just weight loss, just helping everyone, because everyone's doing that now. So that micro niche, and it becomes harder, don't you think, as well? It's more challenging for fitness professionals to have that niche down.
I think all PTs their service needs to be accessible. They can't just think of one consumer. They need to think about minorities or people with disability or special condition, and not really just go, weight loss or movement or yummy mummies,
Yummy mummies.
You can't be all things to all people.
No.
I think the trainers that have had an enduring career and have longevity in the industry are the ones that have identified you can't be all things to all people, because there's that old saying, jack of all trades, master of none. And I think our clients are very savvy these days. They want trainers with education. They want trainers that know exactly what that individual client needs. And so if you're someone that just tries to skim the surface of everything and doesn't deep dive, you're not going to really be able to help your clients get long-lasting change. So, yeah, you're totally right. I think that the micro niche is here. It's here to stay. And it's here to stay beyond just that reason. I think it's also because people want to do more than just like run on a treadmill now. They want to do cool stuff, or they want to be able to apply what they're doing in the fitness realm to achieving goals and doing things that go far beyond just losing a few kilos.
Yeah, well, we had this thing at Fitness First when I was doing personal training manager there, and we had this I can't remember, PTA, Personal Training Academy.
Yeah,
they were awesome.
Yeah,
and they
that's Dom, isn't it?
Yeah, Dom and Mel, they're amazing.
Yeah, they're so good, and they came in, they have this program design questionnaire. I don't know if you've seen it before.
Mo Style, is that it?
Mo Style.
Yeah, it's like, what's your movement style?
Yeah, kind of like, it's more. It answers about 30 questions, takes about 7 minutes, goes into goal setting, goes into all those elements, but then it goes into questions like, do you like to have a routine that you could adhere to, or one that offers plenty of variety? And then it offers these 3 or 4 questions that people answer, which actually shows them what part of the gym they should be training in. Yeah. Are you the type of person who's progressive? Wow. The progressive person is the brand new Nike shoes, brand new Nike tights, loves the latest and greatest, would probably find them on a TRX, that sort of thing. Then you have the traditional sense, which is the person who's in that gym in the back where you're doing, the barbell lifts or the weight plates, and that's more traditional. And the last one is a hybrid, like me or many personal trainers. They just like to go in that day and excuse my swearing, get fucked up. It's like not even.
We weren't allowed to swear on this.
We can swear all we want. That's the beauty of podcasting. It's our show, no one else's show. We own this fucking show. There you go.
Oh, you're so homey, guys.
Yeah. But what we found is, and it's a very, very much of a personality test before someone comes in the gym. Because when they go in the gym and you find more people are not having that element of retention, because you're putting someone who loves progressive in the traditional side of the gym. like PTs. You're putting that traditional person in the progressive side and into those classes. And that's why we're losing people. And that's what I loved about the PTA. It's really diving down into people's personalities when they're signing up to a gym, answering these questions to see how we can retain them for longer and see where they feel comfortable the most.
That's critical because, you know, I think part of the issue for trainers is that quite often it's really easy for us to deliver training that we want, like the stuff that we're really interested in. And, you know, I've absolutely been completely guilty of that in the past, and probably from time to time I still am. But you've hit on a really important point, which is personalisation. And over the past sort of 12 plus months, I've been diving into the concept of epigenetics and personalised health, and how we have these incredible tools at our disposal now, this brilliant science that's been developed over the last 20 years that can, through skeletal measures, through ratios, through a health history, through completely objective measures, tell you who the person is that's in front of you and what they need. Like, what type of training do they need? When do they need to eat? You know, how do they communicate? What type of people do they need to be around? Are they designed for HIIT, or are they designed for long, slow endurance, or are they designed to lift heavy? And it really, I think the key thing it's highlighted to me in all facets of fitness, not just in the training and the nutrition space, but in the way that we communicate with the individuals in front of us. If you're not assessing, you're guessing. And the trainers that are out there that aren't using something like the PTA questionnaire or something like PH360 or another not diagnostic, but another, you know, assessment tool of some kind, really are just leaving way too many things to chance.
More than like, what's your goal? Tell me why.
Yeah.
Like all that. It's more of a sales point of view
Yeah.
if you get them in the gym rather than seeing what part of the gym they should be part of.
So where's the line? Because I think in some regards we're making it way too hard as well. Like, you know, you have to eat specifically, you have to eat at a certain time, you have to exercise in a certain way, you have to, like, fuck. You know, I'm a busy mum. I've got a full-time job. I have a business. I just need to lose a bit of weight and eat a little bit better. So I think there is a line there that, you know, we also need to be aware of, because if you make it too hard, it's like when I go to the hairdresser and they're like, so when you've been putting your conditioners in your hair, have you been doing your leave-in conditioners and health? And yes, I'm lucky to wash it once a week. Seriously, like I'm going to lie to you right now because.
But that's part of the personalisation process as well. Is talking to the person that's in front of you, treating them like a person, not a case study, and finding out, like, what are they prepared to do? What can they do? What can they fit into their schedule? And how heavy do they want to go? You know, how much change do you want to make? Like, do you want to really go after this like a bull at a gate, or do you want to just take like one small step at a time?
Could be an essence of self-awareness. I think people are diving into program, nutrition, going forward, but then they're not thinking about, as you mentioned, lifestyle outside, relationship that you're having with your partner, your kids, your family, all those extra elements in there. You know, for me, for example, I'm training at 5:30 in the morning now. 7 to 7:30, I'm going to work. 4:30, I'm finishing. Then I'm doing this in the afternoon. Imagine I go into the gym at like 6:30 at night and go, I want to get smashed in the gym now. Like, that element of self-awareness and taking that ownership for myself has got to realise, like, I'm already working out too much. I'm already doing too much. Maybe I've got to manipulate things in a better way, for the lack of a better term. Does that make sense? Like, we should be focusing on not just the nutrition plan or the program itself, more or less our own self-awareness and where we are right now, and how we can get there in the future using incremental steps.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got to be holistic.
Yeah.
It's everything.
And I think that's a really good point. Like, it is an overall assessment. So how do you think we go about that online? Like, because at the moment it's a very cookie cutter approach. It's, I'm an online PT, here's a program, thanks for coming, give me your money. How do we, transition to online? Because we can't resist it. It's the way we're going.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, how do we ensure that we're not doing a cookie cutter?
Deb, you're in the tech space, so I feel like this is your question to feel.
Go, Deb.
Well, I share some of that struggles with Katie. You know, I'm a mom of 3. I run my own businesses from home. I have a little kid, so my workout, my nutrition, they're all over the place. And I'm not going to go to a PT or online coach that's going to tell me, so what do you do? No, just be comfortable, make me comfortable with that new workout. But I believe with online training, that's the future. There's a lot of products coming through. I know there's a great product coming online in June that hopefully we will have some kind of partnership with our online platform, which is called Morphus Fit, where PTs can build their profile and consumers can find them, sort of like a Tinder for fitness professionals. And we want to be able to service the consumer, and they can pick whatever they want. They either want to train with a PT one-on-one, they want to do online coaching, or virtual.
Mhm.
So check this space.
Watch your space.
But I think you mentioned virtual, and that's there's incredible technology that's being designed on a daily basis that facilitates the move from an online trainer just being someone that sends you something via email
PDF.
to something that's a significantly more connected, interactive protocol that is about helping people find what they need to find in order to make the changes for them, but also keeps them accountable. There are these great assessment tools out there. The wonder of just a simple Skype session, even. But I think ultimately what it comes down to is technology is here.
Yeah.
The online coach movement is here. And ultimately, it's going to be the difference between a good trainer and an incredible trainer to create a protocol or something online that's going to give people not just, hey, here's 3 sets of 10, but here's 3 sets of 10 in a way that's going to make your body better and help you achieve your goals, not just smash you.
And it's going in deeper. Like I've got some online clients myself, and it's gone to the point now where we're using systems and platforms and all this stuff to try and track. So I'll know, Leisha's jumped in today. She's done a workout.
I'm a good girl.
She's done it at that moment. And when I see you, it alerts me if you haven't uploaded your program. If you haven't gone through the workout, I mean, you could lie. I mean, everyone could lie, but
No.
what's the point of going in the app and just going 4 sets of 10, 60 kilos, and just having that boring element where people have found that it's a lot easier to hold them accountable when they're away from you at the gym. That's the positive side of the platform, the online training. The other positive part of it is that we're not just glorified rep counters. We can do a lot more with programming than just being a one-on-one trainer, just going 1, 2, 3, 4. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Like,
and I hope the industry's moved away from that in leaps
because
and bounds.
the PT element, like, we can be held accountable for you in that 1 hour, but there's 168 hours in a week. There's 24 hours a day. What are you going to do for the next 23 hours?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the online can help out a lot more, in terms of
being held accountable.
being held accountability. Just adds that element of accountability on
Even-
top of you seeing that client every day.
Like if you're a user of Sweat, Kayla Fitness app, you use the app and Kayla can see your movements on your Apple Watch.
Mm.
And if she sees your results, she sends you kudos. So that's what we want. We want to be accountable, but we want to know that we're part of a community.
That's right. That's
Right?
it. And that's a
And-
huge thing these days.
Yes.
Mm.
And that's how, I think she's been so successful. That's how Zumba and the other products I've been involved with have been so successful. And that's what we want to create for our summit, is to create that safe community for women or minorities that are joining us in this event, right?
I think, because the other thing, especially being female in this space, is that, we want to move away from what you look like to how you educate your client, and we've all been a culprit. I know I've been in the industry for now, 20 odd years, and, especially when I was younger, not so much now, but it's very body conscious. It's very much about how you look, and it should be about how you can transition your client and not yourself. And I follow a great PT from America called Lee Boyce, and he's amazing. He does a lot of writing for magazines over there, and he put this amazing article on about, the self-centric PT who's full of selfies, and they're more worried about their body transformation than their clients, and it doesn't increase dollars.
No, because people want to, when it comes to social media, it's fine to be proud of what you're doing and to share it. I absolutely do, because that relates to my business success. But it's show people, come with me, not look at me.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. There is so much attention out there, and so there is so much content asking for attention. And so if you want to differentiate yourself, you have to add value to people's lives, not just say, look at me. It's like, hey, come with me, and here's how I can help you get what you need out of whatever it is you're following.
It's being approachable on your social presence.
Mm-hmm.
Not only your presence as your body, but how you are approachable as a PT.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not a PT, I'm a consumer, and when I'm going to train with a PT, I want them to make me feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
No, you got the abs, I don't want to work that. I don't have time.
Exactly.
Right?
You
I
know,
can
if
like
you're
all your
20 and you want the
pictures.
abs, then you might go to that PT.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm with you. I think that approachability
Yes.
is number one attribute for a great PT.
Yeah, and we have as well social media. There's so much pressure. We don't want to add pressure to that mental health issue that social media brings
Yeah.
to us and our kids as well.
Yeah.
That's another show.
You can go on for hours on that
yeah.
one.
Definitely.
Yeah, so obviously that's an environment you're going to create with Fuel for women, is a safe environment that isn't so much body image focused, it's business focused.
Oh, no, we'll all be wearing now crop tops and booty shorts. No,
Sure.
of course.
Well, all of us.
All of
Every
us.
one
Yes.
of us. Yeah, no, for sure. It's
Got to get it back out of the
dust
laundry.
them off.
What do you mean? You were in it last night, Emily said.
I was in it.
Oh.
So I've got to get him out of the laundry, Katie.
Yeah, but it is really about creating an environment where we're trying to focus on there being some incredible take-home content, tons of incredible take-home content, but also helping women see that it's not woman against woman in this industry, that we're significantly stronger if we're working together, and that there is, as I mentioned before, there's room at the table for everyone. And you know, there's that saying that a candle doesn't lose its flame by lighting another, and that's a really big thing for us, is making sure that every woman that goes to that event, and every man that comes to the event as well, walks out feeling like they know how they can take their career or their life, because it's personal and professional development, to whatever height they want to take it to.
Why do you think women have this natural feeling of crawling under the table rather than lighting themselves up? Because, I mean, I've been a culprit, and there's been a situation where I have been for an interview with 3 men as a group of 4 lecturers, and we all had our specialties in what we lectured in, and one was strength and conditioning. My background, I've got an economics degree, is business, and that's the component that I taught. The other was a exercise physiologist and a chiro. And at the end of the group meeting, the gentleman who we went in with actually said, "Oh, so I've given you the strength and conditioning, I've given you the business, and Katie, I've given you all the fluffy stuff, the pregnant women and children." You know, there's still this deeply ingrained thought process, and I had to shut my mouth, and you know, rather than speaking up, I was just like dumbfounded that this still exists, and I was still okay, that's fine, rather than, oh, hang on a minute, you know, you still don't feel as empowered as the men in the room. So
Was it that man? Like, as in, was it that guy? Was he that type of person, or do you find
definitely
that type of
was
personality, like alpha male? Is that what it is? Or?
Alpha male, and I think you just plug along as women, and you don't actually go, wow, I'm capable of that. I am that. I have done that. It's just like, okay, where can I get to next? Or how can I showcase what I've got? And it's just a feeling of consistently chasing.
Because I think there's a lot to unpack in that. There's some learned helplessness for sure, which is that, you know, if we have these type of situations like you've had, or these experiences that you've had, which is you've had the negative reinforcement of being put into a box and being told this is what you deserve, then of course over time you start to think, maybe like if I've had that reinforced enough, maybe that is all that I deserve, that's all I'm capable of. And sometimes all it takes is one person to reverse that. And you know, Katie, you and I both had the absolute incredible fortune of working for Nigel Champion at Australian Fitness Network and Fitness U, and he's been so instrumental for me in terms of, I would put my hand up and say, hey, I think I could do this, and there was never a question in his mind. He was never the kind of person that would say, you know, I don't think so, we should pass you over for those opportunities. And I think all it takes is just one man or one woman in a position of privilege or, you know, authority to help change that perspective.
Yeah, that's right. It does, because if it is a learned behaviour, or it is consistent. I mean, I have a feeling, especially in this industry, there still is somewhat of a glass ceiling.
Do you think it's as well sometimes like is it personality as well? Like, as in, I don't know, because I'm just thinking from a guy's perspective. If someone said that to me, like just speaking from a man, if he said you can have the fluffy stuff, I would look at it two ways automatically. One, he's giving me that negative reinforcement because he wants to see if I can step up and say something in that moment to see if I could take ownership. So, or that's the type of person, because you can have that backtracking from a management style. You can talk to someone, delegate tasks. You can be more guiding. You can be more direct with certain personality types. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
It's going off on a massive tangent.
No, that totally
So-
makes sense. Like being, a bit of tough love kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
Like,
well, I
will
mean,
you rise
look,
to this?
I went to a commando camp for 3 days, and I was called the C word that many times that I thought by the end of it, my name was the C word. Yeah? But the method of that is I shrugged that off. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go for it. Let's do it. I eat that up. That's the type of personality. That's
think it
how
also
I
determines-
don't mind being talked to like that, but I'll talk to you back like that
Yeah.
if you're going to talk to me. Does that make sense?
But
I'm
how
probably
much
going on a big
empowerment
tangent.
in the situation you have? Like, is it a battle worth fighting?
Yeah,
I think it comes down to safety, right? Like
yeah,
people will speak their truth if they feel safe enough to do so.
yeah, exactly
Mm.
And I
right.
think, like in your situation, Katie, or in times when Deb and I have encountered that kind of thing. Like one example I can think of, and I'm obviously not going to name names, but I was at a conference in the UK, and I was sitting at a table with a bunch of presenters and distributors, and people at the top of the fitness industry, and we were sitting at dinner one night. It's probably 12 of us around this big table,
Mm.
and I had a man either side of me, and one of the men essentially asked a question to our side of the table, and I went to answer, and he kind of put his hand on the table and he goes, "Oh no, not you, sweetie," and he looked over my head at the man sitting on the other side of me.
Oh, really?
And I was like, well, actually, I'm the person that's responsible for the success of that program here, so I can answer that question.
Mm.
So I think it is, you're either the person that will stand up and say it, but I only said it because I felt safe enough with the other people at the table to know that this man's not going to have an impact on my career, or this man's not going to be personally responsible for holding me back. So, I made the decision in that moment that I would speak my mind.
Mm.
Could I say that's the same in every situation? Not necessarily, but I think we've been taught time and time again that if we speak up or we rock the boat or ruffle too many feathers, then the opportunities will never appear for us.
Yeah.
Or that we're bossy, or that we're bitches,
Yeah,
or they will have an attitude.
it's
No.
true.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Oh, you're crazy.
Or
God.
emotional.
Girls are crazy.
Yeah, we are.
Oh,
Oh.
have you got 3 girls in here?
Oh.
Yes. So
Ah.
I look at the whole guys. The guys are stupid. I always say this. Crazy, stupid love.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. Isn't that
Good
right?
comeback, mate.
Yeah. I love that thing, because I know I go on a tangent after a coffee. What that means to me is women think peripherally and men think tunnel vision. So if we have more of an acceptance and understanding of how we both think, maybe we can move past this men versus women shit, and women not being able to be leaders and men only being, like, all that movement past, understanding that we think differently. And
But it starts how, sorry to interrupt, it starts how we also talk to our children, right? And what language we use when they're growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I won't tell my daughter she's bossy. I won't tell you, go,
Leadership
be a
qualities.
leadership. She's a leader. Don't tell her she's bossy. Well, my son, if he falls, you tell him, get up. When a girl falls, you go, oh, I'm so sorry. No, you also need to
tough
tell
love
her,
per boat. Yeah, definitely.
same. And I think that's where it starts, and it's changing
Yeah.
in the industry as well. From being such a male-dominant industry, there's a new association that has been created. It's called the Women in Fitness Association. And I think that's going to disrupt the industry. And the idea of the association is to bring and create that platform again for all that new generation, or the women that are in the industry, and make them feel courageous.
All
To
I don't
come
want, I guess what I'm saying is, from a guy's perspective, there are dickheads out there who are chauvinistic arseholes.
Where are they? Tell me.
I don't know. Probably right here. Am I, Katie? I'm probably right here. But there's also women out there that are like that as well.
Yeah.
So I just don't want, what I don't want to happen in the future for future generations is just having this men versus women. Like, it's not about, for me personally, I don't even think about that. Katie, if you were CEO of the Pod Hub, I don't care. It doesn't Well, she is.
See,
She's the neck. She's the neck. Isn't that right? Women are always the neck. Men are the head of the house, and women are the neck. They steer the head in where they want it to go.
Yeah, I think, and we're moving away from that gender orientation we're seeing.
And that's all I think we
Also.
need to. We need to.
it's all about skills.
It's
right?
about skills.
And
Exactly right.
leadership and
Who's getting paid more? Who does what? It doesn't matter. If your skill set matches that, then you're the best person for the job. It doesn't matter. That's how it should be.
Yeah, and I think that's it. It's not women versus men. It's not feminism. It's equality.
Yeah.
Like, it's just saying, if
You
you have
can
a
too.
woman and a man doing the exact same job with the same skill set, same experience, why should they not get the same opportunities, the same pay, all of that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a story that it's a subject that I don't know how to go down because I don't have enough qualifications.
So one thing I've
So move past it, Katie.
noticed, move on. One thing I've noticed in the fitness industry and when I've come through is a lot of women who working in the industry either put off children, don't have children because whether it's physically laborious, your job, like a lot of group fitness instructors I know who I went through have made the choice not to have children because their job was so reliant on their bodies or their physical image was so reliant on their bodies. Is that something that you'll address in your summit or something food for thought because it's always been in the back of my head as to how do you manage that? I mean, I had kids late, and part of that was I'm a personal trainer, I need my body, I've got no holiday pay, I've got no sick pay, my body is going to change, and that was something that really scared me as, I'm going to have loose skin, I'm not going to go back to the physique I had before, and it was part of the reason I put off having kids as well, so...
It was really important to us when we were putting the presenting faculty together that we were representing both because that's the reality. Deb has kids, I don't have kids. And, that for us is something that's always been very important is to make sure that all of the women who are on our faculty will represent the women who will be coming along. And, our target market, well, we'd love to say that we're for everyone. Our primary target market is women 25 to 45 that are fitness professionals. And, that 20 years, that's a big difference. Women at 25, what they're focusing on, what their emphasis is on is probably quite different to a woman at 45. So it is important to us to make sure that both of those ends of the spectrum are covered.
Yeah, great.
Deb, what have you got to add to that? Because obviously, you've got 3 kids and you're an insane businesswoman. I have no clue how you do everything that you do and run a family
thank you.
and have such great eyebrows.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jean. Look, I think it's food for thought, what you just said, because it's something that it hasn't affected me particularly, especially, keeping my body in a specific way or functioning in a specific way. But I think it is important to teach our audience or our industry what tools they need if that happens to them, right? And I'm going to maybe go to a very boring subject, which is your business management, right? How are you managing your accounts? How are you managing your superannuation? Are you paying your superannuation? Do you have a savings account? What are your finances look like, and who's helping you, and what kind of education were you putting through your Cert 3 years, Cert 4, or fitness year that you were involved? How are we educating our new generation coming through that do want to have children and want to have holiday pay?
Yeah, definitely.
Right, I think that's important.
And also I think, helping, so one of the sessions, I'm going to cover a session on leadership, and I think part of being a good leader now, if you have a team, is making sure that the women and the men feel completely comfortable in the knowledge that if they choose to go and have kids, then the business will support them. So right now, one of my coaches who's in her late 30s, she's about 22, 23 weeks pregnant, and, in my studio, she's got to be 9 meters off the ground teaching people how to do stuff. It's probably not the safest thing for her body at this point in time. So as much as we possibly can, we're putting a body with her. And what I mean by body is one of our newer coaches or one of our, what we call our CITs, our coaches in training, so that she can continue to keep working as long as she wants to. And we'll support her by having an extra coach allocated to the same class that she's on. Or wherever possible, if it's a quiet day and she doesn't have to do as much physical stuff, then I'll find other work for her to do that still adds value to the business and brings meaning to her life.
Yeah.
We've also helped, she's opened a myofascial, she's a myotherapist, so she's just opened a workshop space in the top of our studio. And, for us, we're not going to charge her an exorbitant amount of rent to use that room if we don't have to while she's going to be on maternity leave. So I think a good business, a good leader or good leadership and management in general will make sure that they're creating opportunities for women and men that want to have maternity or paternity leave to do so without it negatively impacting their career.
And now you don't, with technology, you can be an online coach, online PT. So it's about having those management skills on how you're going to manage your time. But those sleep is important.
So
So
it's definitely important.
You just wait.
I'm scared.
You should be. Yeah.
I'm scared.
You should be.
You should be scared.
Well, I'm an uncle now, so I mean that's
It's not
like a
the same.
pathway, and I've got a
Having
puppy.
a dog is not
Having
the
a dog.
same.
No, it's not.
I love
Yeah.
that approach.
I'm scared more of the nicknames, though. By the way,
Of you or them?
well, I'm an uncle, and my first niece came along and called me Uncle Lemon. The next one, where I'm Liam, next one came along and called me Lee Man, so I liked him. Third one, excuse my swearing here, he goes dumb cunt.
What?
Oh.
No.
I
stop.
go, what is that? What did you say? What did you call me, kid? What'd you call me? Dumb cunt. And the kid, and the mum goes, he said dump truck. I'm like, sure he did. Did not sound like dump truck to me. So I'm more scared of those things that kids are going to say to me that, I don't know,
That's brilliant. So you've got
could
to
be
just
calling me something.
Yeah, exactly right. He's come up with a name like that kid has to live with for life.
Yeah.
But legally, the name is something really inappropriate. And that'll
Exactly
get them
right.
back permanently.
Yeah,
That's good.
definitely.
call.
Anyway, sorry about that, girls. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I did say dump truck, by the way.
Yeah.
So when is this summit? Because we will have to wrap up soon. So let's talk about when it is, where it is, how can our viewers access it, and prices or not, up to you.
Cool. So it's Thursday the 25th and Friday the 26th of July. It's being held in Sydney. So the Thursday the 25th is what we're calling our Fire Starter Day. And that's going to be a 6 hour, so 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. So people can come along after the school drop-off's been done. That's going to be a deep dive and immersive with Emma Barry, and it's all about how you can find exactly what you're really passionate about and how you can take action steps towards establishing a business, if that's what your goal is, or if you've already got a business, how you can kind of really like throw some accelerant on it and just get it absolutely firing. The second day is our Fuel Women's Fitness Business Summit, and that's going to be held at the Park Royal in Darling Harbour. And that's a full day event, and we've got about 9 speakers coming along to talk about everything from, as we mentioned, social media marketing, presence, PR, leadership, how to start a business, franchise operations, anything and everything really.
And Prosecco.
Yeah, Prosecco, there's Prosecco at the
Yeah.
end. Oh, and
I'm just
we've
coming
got-
for that.
I caught your attention.
Ah,
Yeah, got my
That one, right?
attention, yeah.
and we've got amazing swag bags as well.
Yes.
I'm going to say
Swag
tell
bags.
everyone about our swag bags.
So we got P Nation involved with
Oh,
our
yeah.
swag bags.
What's P Nation?
PE Nation, it's
P-
apparel.
activewear.
Oh, okay, cool.
We've got
You're like in the
skincare.
eastern suburbs. Where have you been lived?
Northern Beaches boy now.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
to the good side of
Why
this.
not?
Yeah.
Just born in Balgowlah.
Did
So
you?
Eastern Suburbs boy now, born in Balgowlah.
I'm in Seaforth. We're basically neighbours.
Oh, neighbours. Anyway, sorry.
No, that's okay. We got P Nation, we got FitRec involved, so many other sponsors coming on board, but we want more. We want to have the best swag bag ever.
Mm.
Yeah, so it's going to be awesome, and it really is. It's a very limited event. We're already at over 30% capacity on the Wildfire Day, and we have absolutely no doubt that it's going to completely sell out. So it's going to be an insane 2 days.
It's exciting, ladies. I'm really excited for you. I think it's a great initiative, and especially for people in the industry. It's not necessarily just for people who use personal trainers, but that another educational touch point for women or men in the industry. So
Yeah, for sure.
congratulations.
So the
Thanks for having
website to
Yes.
buy tickets, it's events.morphus.fit. You can also find us on Facebook under Fuel Summit. We actually are offering payment plans for those people that like Afterpay or they can't buy the tickets up front. We are facilitating that, and remember that this is a tax deductible event. So if you buy a ticket, this is a tax deductible expense for your business.
And early
Don't
bird
forget
rate
that.
finishes on 15th of May.
15th of May, yes.
So still got a little bit of time to get in.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Free
Come.
Prosecco and swag bag.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
And tax
That's all I heard.
deductible.
Yeah.
And Afterpay, that is my friend.
Yeah.
I book all my trips on Afterpay. Thank you
Thank you
very
so
much
much
for
for your
joining
time,
us.
ladies.
Thanks for having us.
Speak to you soon.